Hi. So I just got done feeding my little 13-day-old Fisher, and I got to thinking about how over the years I've written about the Eat, Wake, Sleep cycle of Babywise, and I just wanted to share, however you feel about Babywise, I wanted to share why we still follow it. It's kind of fallen out of favor in some circles, but then in some circles it hasn't. And I know there's a lot of controversy about the author, and I've never followed their teachings from a Christian perspective, so I can't really speak to that. And I know there are some people who are very offended by his religious teachings, but I do want to talk about the basic sensibility of an eat, wake, sleep cycle and how much it's blessed and benefited our family. From the start in the year 2000, when I had my first baby, we used it, and I've continued to use it because it's such a blessing to our family, and it helps us all sleep. It helps us sleep soundly without crying it out. And he just finished eating, and now he's actually, you can tell his little eyes are open. Sometimes I have to work to wake him up after he eats, which I think is one of the hardest parts actually of following Babywise. Some people think that it's a method of crying it out, and it's really not. What I have found is that it's actually a method where you are teaching them to take full meals. That's probably the most important factor right now in my postpartum weeks, is not letting them snack, but helping them to take full meals. So like I keep track of that through this app. It's called Baby Nursing, and I just make sure that that he's eating a full feeding on one side, which means he's completely draining my breast on one side, and then however much he wants on the second side. Some people find it helpful to eat a full side on one side, and then the next side, just a full feeding on the other side. For me, it's always worked better to encourage a complete draining of the breast on one side, and then however much they'll take on the second side. And so, anyway, but what that looks like for us is full feedings, and then just the eat, wake, sleep cycle. I would never, ever let a baby this young cry it out. In fact, in the book, it specifically prescribes the first 2 weeks you feed whenever they're hungry. And I've found that to be really good for my milk supply, that even if it's only been an hour and a half or 2 hours, we go ahead and feed. But the key is that they take a full feeding, which means sometimes that I have to get creative. I have to like just tickle right here at the base of the neck. You can see how he's scrunching up when I do that. Or change their diaper, or take off. Like just now, he was kind of sleepy and didn't want to really eat on the second side. So he's in a little bag because it's December, a little fleece sleep gown. But so I just unzipped him to where his onesie was all he had on, and then he felt, I think, just woken up enough by the air that he took the second side happily. And so anyway, I think that's the trickiest part of Babywise in these first few weeks, is really helping them stay on the eat, wake, sleep cycle by taking full meals, and then learning how to wake up a sleepy baby at the end. So I changed his diaper at the end, and that's why he's here with his eyes open rather than just all snuggled in and warm and cozy after having a full meal. And his wake time won't be very long. Here in the first few weeks, it's sometimes like once a day we might get 45 minutes or an hour. But most of the time he has like anywhere from a 5 to a 20-minute wake time, and usually much closer to that 5, 10, 15-minute wake time. But the key is that he's learning to have his wake time when he's the happiest. Like right now, he's just content, very milk drunk. He's just looking around, taking it in. And what that will translate to later is that he eats and then has his happiest time of playtime and wake time, and then learns to sleep when his tummy is digesting and even partially empty. So his time when normally he might be more fussy is actually the time when he's sleeping through. And it teaches them to be content in the times that they're awake. So I just did want to specify and share that it's never been a cry to sleep mentality. In fact, the minute he starts to cry, he gets fed. So it is not a method of crying it out to teach them to sleep. Rather, it's really teaching them to be awake when they're content and to go to sleep and let their meal process, which is really what all of us do. Like, we don't eat at 11 p.m. and then hit the sack. We eat at like 5, 6, 7 p.m., have some time with our families, and then go to sleep. And we actually, if you ever have woken up at like 4:30 a.m., you actually feel hungry. This summer we went on a hike and we got up at, we went on a backpacking trip and we got up at like 4 a.m. so that we could hit the trail right when it opened on that first day. And 20 minutes down the road at like, not even 5 a.m., I was really hungry, like legitimately hungry. And I think that would be the case every morning if I woke up at 4 a.m. and started my day. I would actually feel hunger because normally I'm just sleeping through that hunger. I don't feel it because I'm not awake. And that's really what's happening with a baby on the EatWake sleep cycle. So that's it. That's mainly what I wanted to share, is that we definitely don't do crying it out, but we do a gentle EatWake sleep cycle that allows my milk supply to be built up and also allows the baby to gently start getting onto a routine that will actually yield contentment and satisfaction for them from the start. And that's how I do it as a breastfeeder. I've always made it past a year, so I've never needed to use formula. But I've also had good sleepers who sleep at least 6 to 8 hours a night by anywhere from 1 to 2 months in, and they do so without crying it out. So that's how I do it. That's how we start out here in the postpartum weeks. And so I'll just sign off. This is me and Fisher. I'm Jess Cannell, and I blog at jesscannell.com. And I also have a podcast that I share at momonpurpose.com. And so this is how we do postpartum with sleeping and breastfeeding. And if you've never thought of doing kind of a gentle routine, I'd encourage you to try it. It leads to our sanity and sleep. It yields content, happy babies, and has enabled me also to go on to breastfeed for the full year because it establishes a good milk supply and gets us both onto a reasonable and sustainable routine that contributes to my sanity and our satisfaction over the course of that first year. So hope this helps. Come see me at jesscannell.com. That's CONNELL.